Awesome. Already got the stream's current bit rate is lower than recommended. Gotta love it. Welcome, Josh. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you, dude?
I'm doing good. We might have to re-go live again here in a second. I messed with a setting yesterday. That was not a good idea, as I'm seeing. Let's see. Oh, it's not gonna let me. God damn it. Yeah, saying the recommended rate is too low. Welcome, guys. If you guys are here, we're just gonna get this set up real quick. Might have to go live and then go back on. All right. Should be good now. I'll wait until it says we're live. I love that zoom. I'm still using my iPhone for this. I think we're
Really?
live. Yeah, this is my iPhone camera. I have my Sony back there. I still don't use it.
How do you have your iPhone set up?
It's there's an OBS app on there, and then the OBS app goes to OBS, and it like takes the qualities of the camera of the phone, and I programmed the zooms in.
Oh, okay. That's pretty sick.
All right, I think we got everybody. Guys, can you hear us? I guess we'll just do a little check with the audience here. I just noticed one last thing to set up. We'll get started here. The chat's not showing up in the stream. Man, I was on a roll, man. I went like I think 8 streams without any issues like this.
Nice. Hey, man, it happens. Tech divs.
Yep. You know what? Forget about it. I'll just take that off. I can't take it off. All right, guys. We'll be. Let me know if you guys can hear us. All right. You guys can hear us. You guys can see us. That's always a good sign. Chat's not popping up for some reason. Your guys' chat is not coming in. I don't know why. Might have to just keep it like this, and then just get started. Streamers chat. Yeah. I don't know why it's not working. Oh well. All right. I just saw a cat come on your stream. Is that like just a picture you had just later on?
Yeah, dude. I mean, while I'm waiting,
Gotta look at those cat photos.
Yep.
All right. So we got a problem, sir. I went to log into my guitar acceleration course. And I can't get in anymore. It's very sad.
Dang. That is
What
sad.
is happening?
That is sad.
No, somebody
probably
emailed me immediately and said it was okay. I can get in.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Your team is amazing. So this is Josh. He has literally, I would say, sir, I know it's being dramatic. You actually changed my life quite a bit. I gotta say. But before I get into that, I'll tell you why. I think we
Hopefully for the
talked
better.
about it a couple of years ago. There's some good and some bad, We got a little bit of both. I got some quorums, here and there. No, I was just kidding.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we like to do this rapid fire to get to know you, man. It's just some yes/no questions, just break the ice, get us flowing
Nice.
with the brain. So, what is your favorite guitar?
Ernie Ball, Music Man, Majesty.
I knew you were gonna choose that. Could be because you played in a lot of videos. I'm not sure.
That's my fave. It's either that or that Baldy back there. That guy. Oh, that
Yeah.
Fender's amazing. Fender Strat. I grew up on a Fender Strat, so maybe that.
You ever try the other brand? Oh, G&L Fender Strat? Or G&L Strats?
I actually haven't. No,
Those are amazing too.
I've heard good things. Yeah.
It was the guy that started Fender apparently, and then started that company. But
Yeah.
what's your favorite color?
Oh man, this is like elementary school question, dude. I haven't thought of that in a long time.
I don't know. I love asking this question because people are always like, "What? What kind of fucking question is that?"
Dude, I'll go with, I'll go with, the color of the Mystic Dream Ernie Ball Music Man Majesty guitar.
Okay,
You know
whatever
how it's
color
like,
that is.
it's like green and purple, depending on the way that the light's hitting it.
It is
I don't know.
amazing.
Yeah, that's my favorite color. How about that?
We'll call it the majestic color.
Yeah, yeah,
Do you know what hentai is?
I do.
Should I ask the next question? Do you watch hentai?
You know, the answer is no, truthfully. But when I was younger and I first encountered it, kind of just going to the darker corners of the internet, exploring around with my dial-up modem. The first time I encountered it, I was like, I can't even believe what I'm watching right now. Like, what is this? And I had to tell my friends about it. And so I probably turned a lot of people onto it without knowing it.
Should ask him, be like, "Hey, you still watching that?"
Yeah, for sure.
Who has inspired you the most?
Oh man, that's a big question. Well, my wife for sure. I mean, that's definitely the answer. If you're not counting that, if that's like a cop out.
Yeah, no, if that's the person that inspired you the most, that's the person. Everyone has.
Yeah, that's it's her for sure. Yeah, 18 years. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congrats on that.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite YouTube channel?
Oh man, that's a good question. Do I got to say yours?
Yeah, you don't have to at all.
Yeah, that's a really good question. YouTube channels in particular. I got like really into podcasts, so a lot of podcasts. They'll post them on YouTube, and so I don't think of it as a YouTube channel, but I guess it is. I'm a big fan of Rebel Wisdom. Actually, I really dig that channel.
Rebel Wisdom. Okay. Why do you dig it?
Rebel Wisdom or We Plants Are Happy Plants. Those are two of my favorites.
I have to check them out. And I count podcasts. I do count podcasts as YouTube channels. They still count. Yeah. What genre of music are you listening to right now the most?
Oh, dude. It's so cliche to say that, I listen to every style of music. I can't tell you. But it's also true.
But we really do.
I found that most musicians, when they say that, it's actually true. If you're a musician and you say it, it's probably true. Lately, though, geez, one of the best ways to find right out. How Spotify does the Wrapped, the year in review. Dude, that's the coolest thing. It's one of the companies I'm like really happy to just give all my data to because they'll create that for me. And
Spotify, every time it happens, you can take it.
Exactly, take it all. Every time it happens, I hit up all my friends like, share with me your Spotify Wrapped, because I want to see what they're listening to. So I'll just check real quick. Actually, well, this is kind of interesting. This is a surprising thing.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the band Pentatonics?
I love Pentatonics. We've reacted to them on a channel.
Huh? Yeah. They're so they had this Christmas album that just came out. My grandma passed away 5 days before Christmas. And they just this last year, and they have a song called Evergreen. And I think it's the only original song on that album. They usually have one original song on their Christmas albums. And anyway, that song just totally gutted me because it was right around the time my grandma died, and the lyrical content of it just anyway. So I don't know what that genre is, a cappella, I guess. It's not like I'm really listening to it, but it happens to be one of the songs that's on repeat right now. So there you go.
Okay, hey, I was not expecting you to say Pentatonics at all.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, you look at every other thing that's on here and it's different. So I tried to find the more interesting one, and that's the more interesting one.
Yeah, we had fans, say, "Hey, we want you to react to Pentatonics." I was just blown away by the production of the songs, everything. I was like, whoever's the engineer behind that is also a fucking genius because it's phenomenal.
Dude, it translates live. I saw them live, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or something like that. And they got that dialed in, man. It just sounds baller. It's great.
Yeah. I haven't seen them live. I've just seen live videos, and it sounds great. That's awesome. What What is your favorite place to write riffs?
Yeah. Lately, it's been on a little Bozu ball. You ever seen the Bozu
I have
balls?
not seen a Bosey ball. What is a Bosey
They're,
ball?
they're like a medicine ball an exercise ball, but it's just
Oh,
half of it.
okay. Yeah, yeah. It's just
Yeah.
half of it.
Yeah.
Oh, is
Back in the
it?
day, 4 Hour Body, baby. Tim Ferriss, like 15 years ago, he recommended it.
Is
You
that
do
like
these
where you
little,
sit on it?
yeah, you sit on the edge of it and you do these what's called myotatic crunches,
Mhm.
and it puts anybody to shame. I mean, they think I've seen some of the craziest bodybuilders. They sit down to do a myotatic crunch and they can't even do one of them because it just makes your abs explode. Anyway, I like sitting on that thing and jamming and writing riffs.
That's awesome. I was gonna say, isn't that the thing you show in your guitar course? Because when you're showing about,
Yeah,
incorporating some kind of exercise, that's what you're talking about. Yeah,
I do have some
yeah,
footage of that. Yep.
yep. I remember now. I do remember those things. I just didn't know the name for it.
Yeah, man. The Bozu ball.
Bosey ball.
Bosu.
Um, have you listened to any Japanese music?
Oh yeah, for sure.
What is your
Yeah.
favorite Japanese band or artist or group?
How do you pronounce it? Let me see. Um, there's this song, this album. Maybe can you pronounce this stuff?
Maybe I can try my best.
I'm gonna pull it up.
One of my favorites is Maximum Hormone. That's the shirt I'm wearing right now.
Oh yeah, there you go, man. Where is it? I have it in here. I actually just recently shared it with my brothers because I knew they would dig it too.
So majority of our channel is based off of Japanese music. We listen to tons of it, like Baby Metal, Bandmade,
Mm-hmm.
Maximum Hormone, Happy Heads. There's so many. Happy Heads
I dig it.
Naniori. That's the one that doesn't really show the English on their the English form of their name on their YouTube
Yeah.
channel, but it's really good.
Are you familiar with Orange Range?
That sounds really familiar. I've heard that name before.
Yeah, dude.
It's
I
pretty
don't know
good.
if I can link you to the song, but that's what's up for sure.
Yeah, you send it in the chat on Zoom.
Yeah, yeah. Truth be
Awesome.
told, I'm not actually sure this is Japanese though.
Who's your
Yeah,
so last
could be.
question? Who is your favorite student that you have ever had?
Ah, that's a loaded one. No, dude. I'll tell you. Starts with an A. The name starts with an A.
Okay.
Uh, um, but the next letter is a J, so it ain't you. No,
I
no,
knew
really though,
it can't be me. I
it
mean,
can't be you. There's a guy named Alejandro. He was actually one of the very first students that I had, at least in the Guitar Acceleration universe, and man, he was just amazing. He was so um, he was just with it, man. I mean, he went through the entire thing. I have the stats of the percentage of the course that people actually go through,
mhm.
and which is always really interesting to see, where the drop off is and which
Yeah.
videos are watched the most and stuff like that. Anyway, he went through like every single thing. He printed out every download. He just did it all to a T, and then his life transformed because of it. So yeah, obviously that was cool. But a year or so later, he actually mailed me a Christmas gift. I still have it. It's a book on the back shelf, the Biohacker's Handbook, and it's just like a gift. And anyway, he was just awesome guy. I always think of him because marketing 101 is you're writing to one person. You think of your customer avatar. He's
Yeah.
my customer avatar. I always think of him when I'm writing copy or speaking to the camera.
Well, I mean, it's funny you said that. It's a perfect segue into this because for those of you listening, you changed my life because I was going through a really big funk and I had quit my job. I was a district manager. I was making like 80K a year, but I was just depressed as fuck.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it, and I just quit. I quit everything, sold my house, bought a trailer, paid $200 for rent, and I said, "Fuck it, I'm doing YouTube full time." And then I did delivery driving as a side thing, and I can't remember if it was you that recommended the book, but I remember seeing your course on Instagram. You were promoting on there, and I said, "Fuck it." let me try it, because every course I've taken has been pretty good, and it's something I connected with you the way that you're talking through there. It's probably like you said with the marketing 101, right? Of like connecting that person. It really connected with me, your story and stuff. And I was like, I'm just gonna try it. It was like really cheap. Also, that helped, you know, at the
Yeah.
time they were offering some deal. I think it was like the second time you're running the course, and I went crazy. I read every single book on there. I'd be delivering pizzas, and I'd just listen to this. And mind you, I was a district manager. I was just like, now I'm over here delivering pizzas down to the bottom again. I'm listening to the book. The first one was Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then you had a bunch of books that I listened to. I can't remember the names of them. I still have the list here
Nice.
right now, just because of Guitar Acceleration Module 1. I watched the Talent Code, Peak, So Good They Can't Ignore You. So Good They Can't Ignore You really resonated with me a lot. Cal Newport, and
Yeah.
it was so funny because that's what I did as a DM. I just try to be the best. I got promoted immediately and stuff like that. So I'm like, why the hell am I not doing that for my passions, you know, of doing music and stuff? And yeah, all those actually was all those books that set off. That's why I tell everyone about your course. It wasn't just about learning guitar. Like, I applied it to singing. I've been trying to sing for the past 3 years, seeing significant improvement. I applied it to doing a YouTube channel. I think when I was in your course, we were at like 1,000 subscribers, and just seeing it like to this point now, after we dialed it and figured out what we want to do. And I remember talking to you that day where we finished the course, saw tremendous improvement in my guitar playing, and then you were like, Alan, you need to come up with what you want to do. It sounds like you don't know what you want to do. And I remember it took me even after we had that conversation, you said, you need to focus on something. Because that was my biggest issue, was focus. I couldn't focus on anything. Didn't really know what I enjoyed or loved doing. I thought it was guitar. When I realized it wasn't really guitar, it was more of like doing this kind of stuff, sharing music with people, showing people my love for music, and also playing. Like, I still play the shit out of my guitar. I still play every single day, but I also play piano. I also play drums. I tried to do everything. It's probably a bad thing because, you know, they say like you probably should expertise in one thing, but it's just not my thing. I like to be good at everything, or try to be good at everything, or like I like to learn constantly, and you really set that forth. But so what I realized, like, okay, I can't focus on anything, but what I can focus on is the love of music, and I can share the love of music, and that's what I narrowed it down to, finally. And I just channeled it all into this channel. And I mean, this is in May of 2019, and kind of just kicked off. You know, I had some ups and downs. I went back to a job because I got scared, and then I quit that job. And I was like, you know, and it still is. I'm still in that like struggle a little bit, but yeah, I'm seeing it come to fruition, and it is a long process, and people quit along the way. So I have to thank you for that, because that really set me. I thought I had it figured out while I was doing your course, but then we had to talk, and I'm like, fuck, I still don't have my shit together.
I love it, dude. Thanks for
go.
sharing that. It's really cool to hear, you know. And you know, I don't know if you've ever read the book. I believe it's David Epstein is the author. It's called Range. Yeah, it's like why generalists thrive in a specialist world, I think is the subtitle. Could be getting that wrong, but that's a really good book. And on the whole, its argument, if I were to paraphrase it, this is simplifying it, of course, but you know, there's the whole Tiger Woods approach of just from day one, raise somebody to be exceptionally good at one thing. But then there's the approach of the dabblers, guys like Vincent van Gogh. He did all kinds of stuff all throughout his life. It wasn't until way later on that the Vincent van Gogh that we know even came to be into being, right? It was like, by dabbling in all these different places, exploring all these different realms, you sort of create this multifaceted perspective that's impossible to have if you only specialize on a single thing. So you do have to focus in order to create anything great, and you have to have that persistence and consistency, but you can also, you know, really draw from a range of things that you've been into. So I think it's super cool that you messed around with a lot of different stuff for a while. To get to where you are now. And it's not as if this is the end of your story either, you know, like whatever you do with this could very well be just like a stepping stone to something else later too. So I love it, man. Sharing your love of music with others That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's it's been a crazy journey, and I mean something from your guitar acceleration course. And it's funny because I teach also, and I use so many of the methods that you taught me. Just your psychological breakdown, I think, is the most important thing to practice. It's such a brain thing than people realize than physical. And that's what I wanted you to share with everyone, because I love your story, but you're going to tell it better. Tell everyone the story about your hand, how you went through that, because I'll butcher it.
Yeah, well, I when I was younger, I played guitar, and I wanted to be like John Petrucci. He was sort of my idol. I had other guitarists for sure who influenced me, but John Petrucci was sort of the Zeus in my head.
Yeah.
I loved Steve Vai, the way that he would just dance with the guitar, and it was like he was being played by it just as much as he was playing it. Anyway, I love lots of cool guitarists that influenced me, but Petrucci was the guy, and it was a dream to become a Ernie Ball Music Man guitarist, just like him, get my own signature guitar, all that stuff. And so I was really into it. I used to play like 6 hours a day, and at some point, my brothers got really into this video game called Halo.
Yep.
And
who remembers Halo? I know people remember Halo.
Yeah, you better remember Halo, man. It's OG. And they actually got an Xbox for that purpose, just to play Halo. There's no other reason to have an Xbox. I remember them saying that. Xbox was lame, they were into.
That's true,
whatever
though.
They were into.
Because it was like PlayStation. Most people had a PlayStation, right? And then when they finally came out with a Halo, all of a sudden everybody had an Xbox. Who knows if Xbox would exist without Halo? Just saying.
Seriously, it's a good question. Well, they were really into Nintendo as well. So it's like Nintendo, I think, was really their main jam.
Yeah.
The PlayStation and Nintendo. Anyway, they got an Xbox for Halo, and I was like, what is this game, that they're so obsessed with that they would buy a video game console just to play it? My dad bought one, my older brother bought one, my younger brother bought one, so they could all play together. So this is crazy. So I decided to check it out, and that's that's the mistake I made. I got way into it. I played at one point. I did a post-mortem of the video game addiction. And it was, I would typically play for 12 hours a day. And
Jesus. I thought I played a lot.
No, man, it was straight up. It was like 12 hours a day. And then I'd go to sleep and I'd dream about it. I just constantly thinking about it. I'd wake up in the morning. First thing I do is play. I play late to the, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. every night. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. The lengths that we went to, I don't think I've ever even talked about this, but my brother, my older brother would come over, and he would sit right next to me. So we were playing together, right? Yeah. He had his screen, I had my screen, sitting right next to each other. And then we had bridged, and I'm going to get the technical details of this wrong, but there's a way to ensure that you had host of the game when you were playing in matchmaking online, and we set that up. So we would always have host, meaning our internet service would be providing the host of the game for everybody else. The advantage of having host was that everything happened for you before it happened for everyone else by just enough of within milliseconds. Somebody had to have host, and it might as well be us, right? So it gave us this distinct advantage, and it really was distinct. It wasn't like modding or anything. Again, somebody always has to have host. Yeah. But we went on to be, especially my older brother, he went on to be one of the best players in the world for a while. Oh, shit. It was never quite as good as he was. But, and then we did like all kinds of, I haven't even talked about this side of it, dude. We were playing, Halo is my freaking life. I can't emphasize that enough.
Well, it's 12 hours.
Well, dude, it's 12, that's just the start of it though. It was 12 hours a day of playing. But then on my off time, I was editing Halo montages.
Oh shit!
Yeah, these video game montages. I grew this name for myself. I was at the time I was known as one of the best editors, one of the best Halo montage editors.
Oh shit!
You can Google it if you Google Obscure Terror, Sanguine Wave. Obscure Terror is a Hate Eternal song. I don't know if anybody likes Hate Eternal, but Derek Roddy and Eric Rutan. Fuck, I haven't even thought about those guys for years. Anyway. Sanguine Wave, Obscure Terror, in the forums for years afterwards, and even recently, I still get messages from people talking about, man, nobody can do it like you did it, man. And this sounds way more arrogant than I mean, because I look at it and I think it's garbage. But at the time, there was enough innovation in the editing because I was doing so many of them, dude. I edited like 20 montages at the time.
Oh shit.
So dude, Halo was my life.
I didn't know you edited videos too for it though.
Dude, I went ham on that shit. And that's why the guitar, collected dust in the corner. So that's like part of the story that nobody ever hears, like that. Just the deep level of obsession. My brother created a business out of the damn thing. He taught people how to get better at Halo, and like how to do the weapon glitches, how to do the super bounces, all that stuff.
How lucrative was that for him to do that?
I don't know. He made a fair amount for a short period of time, but then the Halo community kind of chewed him up. And I think that gave him cold feet about it. So he didn't continue to invest in it. He couldn't handle the hate hurled his way. I remember getting somebody sent him a package of JPEGs with his face superimposed in all sorts of different unsavory images. And I think that spooked him. But he made something out of it for sure.
That's great. Why would they send all that hate? They were just mad that he was profiting off of it or making money from that?
Being opportunistic, maybe.
Yeah.
I think it was more of just, these are all typically younger dudes with raging egos, and anyone who's like proclaiming themselves to be a guru, you're probably going to want to take them down a peg. But he happened to be insanely good at the game. So if they ever played him, they would get raped, as it were. That was the old expression, or they'd get pwned. That was the thing. You get pwned. So he was stupid good. He's always been insanely good. He went on to be, so his gamer tag, at least the one with the most notoriety, was HaloNinja.com. Because that was where the website was, HaloNinja.com. Yeah. He sold lessons and stuff. He went on to be a Ninja Warrior, an American Ninja Warrior competitor. He's like a 6-time finalist in the American Ninja Warrior TV show. I was just about to ask you
about that too.
Yeah. So it's just kind of funny. Yeah, he was always into the ninja stuff.
So he got out of video games though after that, right? Your brother did that himself. Yeah. So you and your brother kind of went a similar journey of getting out of video games then, right?
Yeah, like shaped in the crucible of video game addiction. We ended up pivoting into taking the lessons that we assimilated from that and creating real value in the real world. That really is what happened, because he became a Ninja Warrior and he has 2 ninja gyms now that he owns. So, thousands of kids per year get to benefit from like his skills as a ninja and whatnot. So created a business out of it. And the same kind of happened with the guitar. To continue the story, addicted to video games, completely malnourished. I was just, jamming Lynn Wilson burritos in my face and Doritos.
So you're eating Hot Pockets and stuff too, right? Stuff like that.
Hot Pockets, like just trash, and not enough trash even. Like I was under-caloried, man. And
we would still stay skinny. I know what you mean. I would eat extra large New York style pizzas like 3 times a day.
Yeah, it's ectomorphs, man. We just don't grow. I got more and more gaunt, and I had hair. I don't know. I guess my hair's a little long now, but my hair was down to my ass crack, and so I had this like super gaunt look and long, so just stringy. I've always had thin, Irish hair or whatever, and so I looked about 50 years old, just sitting there playing the freaking video game all day, neglecting the guitar. And anyway, in the postmortem, I looked at all my stats, because I had like 12 different gamer tags, dude. It's stupid. Yeah. Some people actually took some of my gamer tags and they like resurrected them. They still use them. I thought that was hilarious. I had one called Lick My Flavor, which is totally inappropriate. But when you're playing Halo, it's just so much more satisfying to know that on their screen it says you were killed by Lick My Flavor. Right.
That's brilliant.
You get it and you go and you teabag them or whatever, just the whole thing. But I had so many gamer tags, Like My Flavor, 6-pounder, Obscure Terror, Capital Dookie, Poop Shoe, The Inertia.
Poop Shoe.
Man, there's so many. Yeah, Poop Shoe with zeros, of course. Geez, man. Anyway, in the postmortem, I looked at my kill to death ratio,
Yeah.
so I could be like, oh, I'm cool. Um, but it was,
Get your
it
dopamine
was really,
fix.
yeah, exactly. It was remarkable though, because it actually was only, I say only, um, it was only like 28 days, and I mean like straight up, like
Yeah.
24 hours, 28 full days of my entire life kind of thing, playing that game, doing nothing but playing Halo. And I
Yeah.
wasn't counting like editing it and shit, there's obviously a lot more time there, but it was only a month of my life. It's kind of weird to think about in terms of raw time.
Oh wow.
Uh, but I completely just mangled my wrists, tendonitis. I still got these, dorky looking gloves. People always love to make fun of me for the compression sleeves. I still have like all of these protocols I have to do just to maintain my wrists so I don't, make them useless. But I totally mangled my wrist, dude. So what I couldn't do is play Halo anymore. Fuck. Um, and then I couldn't play guitar anymore, which was actually a major bummer.
Um,
So
the same thing happened to my buddy Joey, and I had him actually check out your course. And I know I have some people here. I've had students that tell me they can't play, and I kind of run them through exercises and stuff like that. What did you do to repair? Like, what is your regimen to get that going? So people have that hope, because I remember Joey. I remember that day. It was like a sad day when he's like, I can't play anymore. I was like,
yeah, man.
it was heart wrenching because we started the band. We're gonna go for it, and now he's back in the band actually because of you. I wish I thank you. Like he's like, I said, bro, if this guy can fucking do it, like there's a way. There's a way. We gotta look into it. Like you can get back there, and he got his bass back again. He got all of his equipment and started up again.
Dude, I love it. I love it.
And like now we have our first cover coming out soon together. Like it's crazy.
Sick.
This is like
What are you covering?
15 years. It's just right. We start off simple. We're doing Lonely Day by System of a Down. It's my first
Nice.
like another vocal performance and stuff like that. Because I've been
Sick.
practicing singing for 3 years, implementing the same shit that you taught me. Not shit, of course, you know what I mean. But
Oh,
same,
shit. Good shit.
the same stuff. But I just love the way that like I've always been like that too. Like there's always a solution. There's always
Yeah.
something. It may be hard to find that solution. Certain solutions might take a little extra work. It might take a little downtime to think about it clearly and stuff, because it is hard, because we're dealing with addictions and everything else that are swirling around us, like social media and stuff like that. So and it does get harder and harder. As much as it makes things easier, it also makes it equally difficult. So, but back to what we were saying, how did you figure this out? How did you get back on that guitar?
Yeah, man. I mean, I was off it for 2 years. I'm super stoked that Joey's jamming, by the way. That's so sick. I love hearing that. Um, I stopped playing for 2 years. I didn't touch it. And it really just, the trajectory of my life completely changed because I couldn't use my wrists. It sounds like an exaggeration, and I suppose it is, because there was always some stuff that I could do, but I couldn't lift more than 10 pounds. I couldn't type on the keyboard anymore. I couldn't edit video anymore. Like everything about my life kind of just flipped upside down. And
this is why I get one of these mouses, everyone, okay? When you're editing.
dude, you know what? I actually, pro tip, what matters most is it's not any given mouse. It's that you change it from time to time so that the repetitive stress changes, so the repetitive motion changes. I used to use,
this is,
I called it
I was just about to say that. That's why I use both of these guys. When I edit, I always tell everyone, they don't believe me. I edit for 30 minutes, then 30 minutes, and then I take a break. Always.
Dude, straight up, man. That's the way to do it. Dude, I went crazy because a couple of years ago, I actually had some real trouble with my wrists again. It got to the point where I couldn't type it. I couldn't type anymore.
Oh, shit.
So I had to do everything through dictation and just kind of figure out how to do that and still do everything I needed to do. Because writing is like, that's my thing. I suppose I'm fast forwarding in the story, but it's just interesting to mention. I trained it myself how to type Colmac using the Colmac layout instead of the QWERTY layout.
So what's the Colmac layout look like? I'll post a picture up for everyone, but
yeah, so you obviously, because the keys are QWERTY, you can't look down, so you have to train yourself to do it without looking. And I don't remember the exact numbers, but it's pretty insanely more efficient. That's what sold me on it. Just the economy of motion. It's so much more efficient. You barely even move your fingers. And like I used to be able to type, I don't know, 180 words per minute or so. And now I could type about that, except it's way more efficient. And that was hard, dude. That was a hard skill to install. Definitely have to use the methodology for that. But it's like, almost my entire life typing QWERTY and just having to reason is interesting, but very much worth it. So yeah, switch your mice up. Don't go for more than 30 minutes at a stretch if you can. And then if you're able, learn Colmac, man. That changed everything for me.
How do you spell Colmac?
COLEMAK. One word. Okay. Yeah.
Colmac keyboard. So it's not like this typical keyboard, right? Is that what you mean? Or
you use a typical keyboard. It's just in your operating system. You change the input to Colmac.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I got you. All right, and that just makes.
Yeah, they probably have Colmac keyboards, but I don't have one.
Yeah, because I'm looking here, and there's a couple Colmac keyboards. I thought it was an actual keyboard or something. All right, but okay, back to what you were saying though. Sorry, I was just curious. I'm like Colmac keyboard. I'll have to look that up afterwards.
Changes the game. If anyone's serious about it, I can give you some resources on how I learned to do it, because it really only took me maybe 3 months to get basically back to the level that I was at with QWERTY. It might sound like a lot, but it was like, an hour a day.
Yeah.
So dude, I just took a very different path with my life. That's what ended up happening. I got really into writing, ended up spending 4 years on a book. I was given the title of the book by Tucker Max, if you know Tucker Max, and I think I was given the subtitle by Ryan Holiday, if you know Ryan Holiday, and it's called "Distracted to Death: How 21st Century Entertainment Addiction is Killing Us." And I just got way into writing and everything else that entails, and that's kind of where my life went, And there's way more to that story, but
well, shows in your course, man. Like, it's very well thought out. I remember going through a course. I'm like, how does he do? Like, because your choice of words, the way you said it, you could tell it was written out very well. Like I said, I have all these PDFs downloaded. I remember just going through it. I'm like, this is because I do this thing. Like when I go take a course, I'm like, how could I do something like this? And I'm just like, damn. This is intense. Guys, this guitar acceleration course, check it out if you are interested, because it's the most intense course ever, but it'll change your life if you take it serious. More than just becoming a better player, in my opinion. I thought it was way more than guitar playing. I mean, I was going in thinking, it's gonna probably give me exercises and stuff like that. And I'm like, holy shit. It ended up changing my life.
yeah, dude. That 90% of the feedback I get, because people go through it, I do a little survey, and then I do an interview, that you and I jammed in that interview.
Yep.
It's a one-on-one afterward, and 90% of the people will say, this is so much more than guitar, and I got way more benefit in every other way in my life than than just
it should have been called life acceleration.
Yeah, well, there will probably come a point where I do a generalized just skill acceleration. It's just, here's how to develop skills, period, in any area of your life at an accelerated rate, because that's really all it is. We just apply it to the guitar because I happen to have a following of guitar players, and there was a market for it, and it was a nice way to test it, to make sure it wasn't just me,
Yeah. So
yeah, dude.
When your hand, what was the first stuff that started relieving it?
Dude, I did so much back. It's crazy. Yeah, I wanted to play so bad, I still wanted to become a Petrucci if I could. And man, where did it start? At some point, I decided to do it. I had just stopped playing guitar. I gave up on that whole dream. I just went down a different road, right? And I'm glad I did, because it totally changed my life. But at some point, I wanted to get back into it, so I just did weird shit, man. I mean, I would do anything, Like if there was a pill to pop, I'd pop it. If there was some alternative therapy to try, I'd do it. Conventional therapy, I would do it. The only thing I wouldn't do is surgery. It was primarily because I heard that it was the risk to reward ratio just didn't stack up. There were too many people who came out of surgery and they were worse off. and it's irreversible, right? So I didn't want to do anything that was irreversible
Mm.
to the downside. But I did color therapy. Look that up. I can't even tell you what that is. I did electroshock therapy. Obviously, did contrast treatments therapy. I just did typical physical therapy. I did chiropractic therapy. I did acupuncture care. I did structural therapy. I did or structural integration. I did.
What was the most
like I said,
beneficial? What did you feel like was the biggest change? Which one was like, oh wow, that really fucking worked?
Yeah, I actually have this entire breakdown inside of the Guitar Acceleration Experience.
Yeah.
Happy to link people to it for free if they're interested. If anybody reaches out, just let me know, because I never want people to be blocked by something like this from pursuing their dream. But the three main things were structural integration. No, let me rephrase. Muscle reactivation.
Yes.
Number one, muscle reactivation. Dr. Two Fingers, or Mr. Two Fingers, was introduced to him from Tim Ferriss's book, 4 Hour Body. His name's Craig Bueller.
Yep.
He happens to live in Bountiful, Utah. At the time, I was living like 20 minutes away from Bountiful. Pretty insane luck, because, you know, people will fly from all around the world to go to him, you know, top athletes and all-star players and stuff. I happened to be able to go to him just down the street, and that changed so much for me, dude. It was super expensive, insanely weird. I mean, he would just take 2 fingers, dig them into certain points of your body, and just like kind of, you know, get in on there. Very strange, but some stuff started happening. That's for sure. I mean, blood just starts rushing back.
Hopefully the right things happen.
I know. Right? Yeah, dude. I mean, it's sort of fringy. I don't know if it's on the, I think at this point it's probably a little bit more empirically validated, but at the time it was a little less so. And I don't give a shit. I'll just try it. You know, it doesn't have to be validated for me to go for it. So he did that reactivated my muscles so that I could start working them out. So I could actually get some strength built, because prior I couldn't lift more than 10 pounds. It was impossible for me to build any strength. What I needed was strength in my muscles to be able to play the guitar, or do much of anything else. And reactivating dormant muscles that were otherwise atrophying. Yeah. That was the first step. Step 2 is strength training with the metalhead. I call him. He's a good friend. Ty Nickel. I think he's got a few records in Utah for powerlifting. Super cool guy. He's an amazing guitarist. Yeah. I gave him, had an extra Axe Effects too. I gave it to him a couple years ago. Hopefully he gets an album out, because I told him that was the deal. I'm like, you create your album, dude. I'll give you this shit. He still hasn't. I'm going to hit him up.
It's funny you said that. I got a student because he didn't have a way to record, and he just reminded me he still owes me a song. I bought it was for his birthday, so he lives in the UK, so I just ordered it from Sweetwater, sent it to him. Like, the only deal is you gotta record a song and send it to me afterwards. He hasn't done it yet.
Gotta slap him, man. That's a gift. You don't fuck around with the gift. Yeah, it seems like it would motivate him. Apparently not.
Yeah. I've noticed over time, like, people are more motivated if they go out and do it themselves. Like, but they got to decide to do it, you know, and that's the hardest thing. Like, you got to have that moment where you're just like, all right, I got to do something, you know?
I kind of feel like there's this, I've researched this a lot. The science of intrinsic motivation versus extrinsic motivation. Actually had to do a lot of research for the guitar acceleration methodology, in particular the gamification module, where it's like gamifying the experience of developing skills by measuring the metrics that matter. That's what I call them, the true indicators of progress, because most people mistake progress or vanity progress for real progress, and they're really not the same thing. And if you're not measuring yourself in a meaningful and objective way, most oftentimes people don't realize they actually are making significant progress toward their goal, but it's invisible or glacial to them because they're measuring the wrong things, or they're not measuring anything at all, which is even more common. So you don't see from day to day the incremental benefits that are compounding, you know, especially when you're developing skills that are exceptionally hard to develop, but it's happening. And it's only because you stop that you don't ever realize the goal. And then, you know, worst case scenario, you start regressing. But if you just keep going, you're usually right around the corner from a breakthrough that you can't deny. right?
Yes, I'm feeling that with vocals right now. I'm like, I'm ready for it to fucking get over. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, dude. That's that's the valley of death. That's when you're in that state of, you're putting in the time, you're putting in the energy, you're putting in the effort. You seem to have plateaued, but what's actually happening is there's nearly invisible incremental progress that if you just persist and if you remain consistent, and those two things are different but both important, you're about to explode into like a whole different level of ability. And then you enter the same cycle again, right?
Yes.
Where for a little while, it's like this parabolic run where you're just like, yeah, I'm killing it. I'm seeing so much progress. Inevitably, you'll hit another plateau. And in that plateau, most people give up. They may not throw it away entirely. What they tend to do is just remain at that level because they don't continue to persistently push themselves, right? Yeah. They just stay at that plateau because it's frustrating to not notice progress anymore. And so they just stay in the comfort zone. It's a new comfort zone, right? It's further along than it used to be, but it's still a comfort zone. They never get out of it. If you persist, though, you can do another explosion, another plateau, another valley of death where you got all this doubt, right? It's just a cycle you go through over and over again. The masters have mastered dealing with that cycle. Yeah. They're familiar with that territory. They know how this shit works, if only intuitively.
It's that valley of death that is so brutal, everyone. It really is. I mean, when I say brutal, I mean, there's been moments with the vocals where like straight up just depression. Like, I'm not fucking getting this. Why is this not happening? Or like ask friends like, no, it sounds about the same. Or like, oh, I thought it was getting better. And then my, got a vocal coach and he told me, he was like, you don't hear it, but you're actually getting better with this, this, and this, and this.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, I remember like what you're saying right now. And I was like, it just all makes sense. It all adds up. I remember we were talking about the myelin genesis, if I'm saying that word right. Like just what is it? Like it just keeps rapping and rapping the more you do it, and then it's more sustained. But if you stop doing it, it kind of starts unraveling, right? Or something like that. I'm sorry if I'm messing that up. But I remember
it's pretty complicated.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
I said it in the most simple form.
Yeah, if you put it in a simple form, I'm not a neurologist. It's a nice. In some ways, it's a fitting metaphor because I think a lot of what we understand about myelin, can fill a library, but what we don't understand can fill the rest of the world, right? Yeah. And the brain in general. I mean, we figured some things out, but it's a fucking mystery, right? We're still unraveling it. That's the whole ongoing thing. But in short, what happens is if you think of it as, so there's an electrical signal that travels from one neuron to the next. And if you insulate that signal, then the signal's not as likely to drop, right? Or get lost because it's kind of in a tunnel. There's a tunnel of this myelin sheath. This white matter is what we used to, I guess we still kind of call it that, but before we didn't know what it was. It was just kind of weird white matter in the brain. Yeah. And you insulate that neural pathway so that the electrical signal can travel without getting lost. And the more insulated it is, the faster it'll go. It's the difference between a dial-up modem that had that super slow and a T1 or broadband or Google Fiber, whatever the hell connection.
Fiber is badass. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, exactly. Right? I remember when you said that. I don't know. It just clicked for me. I'm like, that makes sense. Totally makes sense. I was wondering. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say one thing about your. So here are ways that you have improved as a vocalist. Like that's the key distinction. That's the key point. Just going back to what I was saying, the metrics that matter. People don't pay attention to what really matters when it comes to developing a skill. So in the guitar world, a very common example is they measure their progress based on how fast they can play. And that's kind of all they measure, which is basically is a lower level of awareness when it comes to paying attention to your progress as you can get. I agree. Right. Your speed speed is just the backdrop. In fact, in some sense, it's just a placeholder for timing. That's really all it is. But speed is just the backdrop in which, you're able to play like within a certain context. But what actually counts is your control, your clarity, your consistency, your musicality, and what I call the subsets of those metrics, which goes from your timing to your accuracy, to your dynamics, to your noise reduction, to your consistent, inside of the consistency, your relaxation, right? Your resilience, being able to bounce back from a mistake you make and make it imperceptible. All that shit really fucking counts when it comes to measuring how good you are at a particular skill. Speed doesn't, it's just it's a byproduct of all the other things. But if you're paying attention to those things and you have some sort of objective way of looking at it, it's insane, because it gives you motivation back when you're in the valley of death, which you inevitably will, because that's the cycle of skill development, right?
Yeah. Yep. It's fascinating that guitarists focus on speed so much. It really is. I guess, I don't know. What do you think it is? Just a flashy thing? People are just like, even right now, by the way, I'll send you guys the link. Follow us on Discord and stuff. I'm going to put all the links to Josh's stuff. You have this free thing going on with alternate picking. And it's interesting because people are really focused on the speed of the things. I've never had an issue with alternate picking. I've always loved the singing melodic solos with speed bursts in between. That's always been my favorite style of solo. Like, that's why I was always a huge fan of like Slash, Jimi Hendrix, like all those emotional players, because I like to put tears, blood, sweat into it. But also, for me, fast picking was anger. Like when I want to go off, like and then like, for me, that's what it is, And then
I like that. Yeah.
So whenever I write a solo, I'm like, I just focus on how I feel, what the song's about, and this is what I'm gonna do, and it just shit comes out of my hands, and then go from there.
I dig that.
But I was in a band where it was just like shred-tastic. It's just like it's just like riff after riff after riff. I'm like, this is great, guys, but I'm bored as fuck.
Yep.
But what do you think it is? Why do you think people are so honed in on the speed? Everyone's all about that speed. I guess does it go back to like NASCAR
speed,
driving,
Who doesn't like speed?
Right.
Anyway, well, I think it's complicated, man. There's some. I know growing up, I just always loved going fast.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It didn't even have to do with the guitar. It's like faster, hop on a roller coaster, faster, hop in a car, faster, hop on a bike, BMX, faster, go down the mountain, snowboarding, faster. I like to go fast,
Yeah.
I think it's part of that. But there's also just, who are the icons? Who are the influencers? Who are the heroes in the guitar space? And what do they do? Well, part of what they tend to do, it's not always the case, is they at least have the ability to blaze, and when you see that, you're like, fuck, I kind of want to do that myself,
But then you realize bending a string is way harder. And
way harder.
moments.
Yeah, you're going to spend a year trying to get just a BB King bend, and you'll still fail. Let's get real. But but if you spend like a day or two working on your speed, you're going to get some progress. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but truly, like, to bend with that, God, to get your soul in that fucking note, with the vibrato expressed just right, and like nail those. Guthrie Govan, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's one of my favorite guitarists. I think he's one of the greatest guitarists alive for sure. God, dude, his bending, just
I'll have to check it out.
Flabbergasted.
Yeah, because when I do bends, I can't look at the guitar. I have to look away because I never nail it when I look at the guitar when I'm bending. So a lot of people are like, you're not even looking. It's because I can't. I have to be. It's same thing with pinch harmonics, actually. I have to be like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I just can't look at the guitar when I do it.
You know why I think that is? I think it's because, and you're more of an emotional player, and as you were describing, the shit that comes out of your hands, it's just a funny image. That, like, tuning into it. In fact, I love that distinction, man. Even just saying, like, you shred to express anger.
Yeah.
Maybe that's not the only reason why you would do it, but I really dig that, because it's emotion first, mechanism for expressing the emotion second,
Yeah.
And too many players just lose sight of that. They get so caught up in the technique game, just being able to play and do this certain thing, whatever. It's like, what's it all for, dude? Like, where's it fucking leading?
Yeah.
Why are you putting in this work if it's not to express yourself, to be creative, to do something with the skills you developed? So I love having that be the focal point. But I was just going to say, I think part of it, when you look away, you're just, your attention is less limited by what you see and how the manipulation of that object will sound. Instead, you're tuning into your feelings. You're tuning into just like the moment that you're in, instead of what it looks like on the fucking neck.
Yes.
And so you're way more likely to hit the bend because you're feeling into the bend instead of visually trying to nail it. Right. That's my thing. That's what I think.
That just brings me back to one of the greatest lessons you teach in that guitar acceleration course, which was visualizing how to play, finding ways to practice without practicing. I remember putting out videos on your page, me like practicing in the car. I remember you going like, "Don't do that. It's not safe." And of course, I'm like all in. I'm like, "I'm gonna fucking do it." So I was driving and practicing. I was everything. I had like you know those guitars that they came out with that would put up the tablature and stuff. Yeah, like you said, and I did it. I took it, put it in the car. I'm like, I'm gonna get the sweep down. And I just would do that.
Yeah, buddy.
I was like. I was all in. I was like, I'm gonna fucking get better. And actually, like I said, it turned into a realization. I'm like, oh, I don't want to be the best guitarist ever. Like at first I thought it was, but then I was like, no, I want to write and create music that I love and share music with others. And that's what it turned into. Because I always had it in my head. I'm like, I just want to be the best guitarist. I'm like, no, I got over it. Finally, it took a while because I think it was kind of holding me back because I was just like, I wasn't having fun, you know, when I was like you said, I saw people doing the techniques. I'm like, I would learn all the techniques. And I was like, okay, well, that's cool.
Now what?
Now what? Yeah.
What's it all for, man?
Because there's a lot of great guitar solos. I've seen a lot of great guitar solos, but they're still like, it's because it's so perfect, it's so perfect technique wise, but like I said, if I can't feel the emotion in the guitar playing, I kind of lose interest in my opinion for that. But everyone's different. There's calculated players. There's people that are more like into that, and that's what they love. There's different, what do they say? Different strokes for different folks or whatever. But
that's right. Different. Whatever kind of goat you like as one of my friends used to say. It's it's kind of interesting because your ability to feel that, kind of be sensitive to that emotionally, I feel like it kind of deadens if you focus too much on the technique and you almost lose touch with it. So you always got to be doing both, I think, to some extent or another. There's always the development, but there's also just like get into it. Like the best shit I've ever made, but bar none, like there's not even it has been shit no one's heard except for closest friends and family. You know, like I've created songs, I've music, like epic, like 40-minute songs. It's just crazy shit. No one's ever heard it except for who it was intended for, like a gift for this one person.
Yes.
And you know what hardly ever shows up in that stuff is shred. You know, like do it, the crazy technique stuff. That's not the point.
Yeah. It's amazing. One of my students just showed up in the chat right now. I talk about you to him all the time. I say, you know, like I always refer back to stuff that you talk about, like how to practice when you're not practicing, like just taking the pick, putting it to your seam if you're trying to get alternate picking down, working emotion while you're at work, mentally visualizing it. And that was the most insane practicing I ever had. I actually got so obsessed with that. I do it with vocals too. I will sit there and not sing. I will be singing in my head, and I'll like, okay, notes, and it'll just start, and I just start doing that. And it started with a guitar. Then I realized how bad I was at guitar because I'm like, I can't even visualize the fretboard. And then it took a while to finally picture it. Just that whole idea that you brought up, like if you can't play it in your head, you're probably not playing it right on guitar. And I was like, aha. I was like, so yeah, every riff now I'm like, all right, visualize me playing this. Like let me learn it. So what I do now is I'll learn it. I'm like, cool, now I'll play it in your head and learn it. And it's crazy because you get mentally tired. I remember sitting there for 30 minutes practicing in my head. The guitar is right over there. Well, I'm like, let me try this. Let me do 100%. And it's just amazing. I would do that, get mentally tired, take a 15-minute nap, wake back up, you know, applying all those methods you said, and it fucking works. Like it really does.
It's astounding,
wake up and then I just jump right into it. I'm like, oh my God, it's cleaner already, you know? So
you move your bass line in between through incubation. It's actually wild because the myelination thing we were talking about, that happens mentally, whether you're physically manipulating the instrument or not. And in some ways, it's actually more difficult to do mentally without manipulating the instrument. Yeah. Because you have to do it all mentally. Like you just have no reference point, no visual guide. It's just all here. So in some ways it's even more effective because the cognition is more intense. So you're sending the signal to your brain. The metaphor I use, this is a convenient metaphor because it's ultimately more complicated than this. But the metaphor I use is what gets myelinated are activities that you've sufficiently signaled to the brain as necessary for your survival, right? Yep. You're saying, this needs to be something that we could do automatically without thinking. It needs to be as easy for us as breathing is, as easy for us as walking is, so that if a tiger, bursts into our territory, I can respond to that threat unthinkingly, automatically, right? You think that's going to happen overnight? Like getting that signal and automaticity? Fuck no. Like you have to really, you got to work on that shit. But the advantage is once you do, it really does become, it's unconscious competence, as they call it. And when you're doing it only mentally, I swear you speed that process up, dude. Most people don't have the patience to do it because it's fucking hard, but you speed it up. And there's ample evidence that the mind doesn't know the difference between what's happening physically in the real world versus what's just happening in your head. And this was actually a study done on pianists a while back. And, people were able to learn songs without ever touching the piano by doing it in their head. So it's pretty powerful, man.
There's people that been doing it. Like I had a drummer, he would never practice, have the song down by practice. He was our last drummer in Dicodec. And I was like, he did this without knowing that it was a thing. He said he had no time to practice. So he just practiced on a guitar, visualized himself doing it. And it works. And when you do get mentally tired, what I found helps for me is, like you said, again, in that course, like I would just do I would exercise first. Pick up the guitar, mentally practice. I do have like a nootropic I like to take that helps like boost the concentration and stuff like that. And I do that also. And for me, that's accelerated everything I do. I don't think I would be where I'm at on vocals in 3 years. I mean, I fucked up in the middle of the 3 years because I did fall back into some old addictions again, and I had to get back out. You know what I mean? Guys, this is how not easy it is. It is easy to just fall right back in because
because those are myelinated habits, dude. Yeah, that's one of the things. Yeah. If you myelinate a certain path of behavior, it actually never goes away. This is the good news and bad news. Barring, neurodegenerative diseases and demyelination, which can happen through aging, which can also be combated against. Barring that, it doesn't go away. An old habit, a bad habit can be instantly retriggered, but you can also build a new one, that becomes just as automatic. I'm curious, what nootropic do you take, or which ones you like, and B, what the addictions were, if you don't mind sharing.
So during this channel process, the work got so overwhelming. I got really addicted with alcohol and cocaine. So those were the hugest ones. Yeah.
Killer combo, man.
Yes. Very killer combo. And it was really sad, even for my wife. Sorry, I'm going to get a little teared up, but anyways, it was a whole year of all this progress, right? With the course. And then I had to get back into it and break out. Yeah. But sorry. It was funny. It's funny to talk about because you were saying like it never goes away. You're absolutely right. Last night I was like, oh, the urge is hard. Fucking pick up a guitar, back into it, So, but luckily I got out, and like now I'm just more stubborn than ever. So
I love it, dude.
I'm trying not to tear up. Sorry.
I'll add one thing to that. Luckily you got out for now. It's like a sober thing to realize, but it's how it is. If you embrace it for what it is and the monster that an addiction can be, it's so much wiser, in how you approach it, than pretending like I'm done with it forever. It's like, you might be done. It ain't done with you.
Yeah. Because it started when I was 20, right? I never drank. I never did drugs or anything in my whole like teenage years. Maybe tried drinking once when I was 16. That was it. I was like, never doing it. And then I tried drinking again when I was like 22. And I fell into like a whole year of debauchery, right? No drugs though.
Nice.
I didn't do drugs. I didn't do drugs or anything like that. It was just drinking. Then I stopped again. I got focused on my job and all that stuff. And unfortunately, the person I worked with, my co-manager, and I'm not going to blame him because I'm a grown-ass adult. I have complete control of my life. But it was kind of the cocaine stuff was introduced, right? Only did it a few times. Not a big deal. Never did it again. 4 years later, man. 4 years later. Never did any of it. When I started getting depressed, and then I let it slip in again a little bit. And then I stopped again for another year. It's crazy. And then I went through the course and all that stuff, whole year and a half, and then bam, slipped back into it again. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, and then, but this last time was the worst. So now I'm like just ultra focused and making sure it doesn't happen, because I've seen how it progressed. Even though it was in the span of 15 years, maybe only took up 6 months, maybe. Let's say 6 months. 6 months or less. But it's still scary. You know, just hearing what you're saying, you're like, everything is a learned thing. Like the more you do it, it just gets, it's how the addictions start, you know? But yeah, so hopefully, not hopefully, it's not going to happen again. But like last night, had it again. I was just like, what else are you going to do? Like, you know what I mean? Like, play guitar. Yeah. So I just play guitar and sing and do what I can. I'll slip back in. But
yeah, dude, that's the way to do it. It's one of those things too. It's funny because the video game addiction is actually, it's sort of my version of this, you know. And not to say that I haven't had other brushes with addiction, because I certainly have, but video game addiction was the strongest one I've ever had. And it taught me so much. Like, I'm so glad that I had it for so many reasons. I'm so glad I fucked up my wrist for so many reasons. You know, it's trite and cliche for a reason, you know, to be grateful for all the dumb shit you did. It's that way for a reason. I'm so grateful for it, you know. And
the dumb shit can happen at any time in your life too. You never know.
I know. What are you going to do with it? You know, you might as well make something of it. It's one of those things where I know the power of that addiction, and that's never changed. So I've kind of just stayed away from video games. I never got back into video games. I played a little bit of StarCraft 2 with my brothers for a little while, and immediately I felt it just like rising up. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to play anymore because this is just way too sticky, you know. And I'm glad, you know, thank goodness I'm not into video games, except from an outside investor perspective, because I know the power of video games.
Yeah, you know, so I was obsessed with video games also, and I stopped when I was 16. I was wanting to be a pro skateboarder, but I love guitar more. Luckily, I never broke anything, so I quit playing video games. I quit skateboarding. I just practiced guitar nonstop. I wanted to be the best. I noticed that I had this weird ability to learn quickly on guitar for some reason, and I just went with it. I was like, and then plus everybody told me I can't. That I was like, I was always one of those people. I wanted to determine everyone. The 15-year-old telling me I can't do. I'm like, you're never gonna make it. It's very rare. Musicians don't do anything with their life. And I was like, I was always that person. Like, I'm gonna do it. Like my mom would tell me, you're never gonna have a good job because you have tattoos. And I'm like, look, woman, I'm a district manager now. like I was always about proving people wrong, and that's not good either, right? You got to do it for yourself. And the biggest change with this like addiction thing this time around is I did it for myself. I quit for myself. I feel like the other times I quit was more like to please the people around me. You know what I mean? So I think that's the difference with getting over some of those addictions. Like, if it's legit for yourself, because I remember quitting, be like, oh, I'm going to quit because I don't want to make this person mad, or I'm going to do this because I don't want them to be pissed off. And it's like, when you still, I don't know, I feel there's something strong when you finally come to the conclusion, like, I need to do this because my mental health or so. That was what it was for me. I realized I was talking and all of a sudden I was forgetting words, and it's like, what's happening? Wow. And then finally now my speech came back. Like, all of a sudden I can think a little bit clearer. I'm more concise. Like, I'm like, okay, normal Alan brain is coming back. You know, so
I dig it, dude.
I
love it. Hey, you never told me what nootropic. Actually, can you hold on 1 second? Yeah. Sorry, I gotta check something really quick.
Okay.
1 second.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying this this interview. Well, I go get that. I need to go get that nootropic now. It's downstairs. Should probably run and go get it. When he comes back, I'll let him tell a story and he can, and I'll get it. How's everyone doing out there? Shout out to wrist issues. Yeah, we talked about that. Did you catch that part of the conversation? I know that's stuff that you and I have talked of many times. Catching up on this chat here. Yeah, no, I'm pretty good about it. Now, Tim, you still play video games? Nice. So he didn't listen to any Japanese band. I'm gonna ask him again right now, about that. We're gonna talk about some Japanese music. He did say he listened to some, but he couldn't remember the name. That's. I'm glad you caught it, Shred Dog. We'll have the whole chat up, and I mean we'll have the whole video up too, so you can rewatch. Thanks, Sam. I really appreciate it. I like, that's the whole idea. This is something I've been wanting to do, is have inspiring interviews like this. And I'm so happy that Josh was willing to come on. And he's back. It's been amazing. It's been amazing. Tell them something while I go grab the bottle, because I can't remember the name to save my life.
Are you talking about the nootropic? Oh, he's gone. Oh, fun fact. I can't actually see him right now. So I don't know if he knows that, but all I see is the OBS symbol in my Zoom. It says, tell them something. Here's something that's kind of interesting. Tying back to what we were talking about before. We were talking about gamification, the process of measuring the metrics that matter so that you can actually see the progress you're making with a particular skill. And it astounds me to see when people are developing a skill, they are improving in all the ways that actually matter, and they can't see it because they don't have a way to see it. The way to do this, to determine what it is that actually matters when it comes to the skill, is you take the skill itself. I'm going to give an example outside of the guitar, just so you can see how this translates. Freestyle rap. I always joke that I'm better at freestyle rap than I am at guitar playing. And it's actually not really a joke at this point. It's probably true. But with freestyle rap, you let's take any given skill. Let's just say it's rhyming. You know, that's pretty broad. There's sub skills of rhyming, obviously, but let's just say it's rhyming.
You're going to do rhyming, a rap for us, so at some point, right?
I'm happy to do one if you want.
I'll let you finish first. Sorry, my bad.
It's second nature at this point. But there's if you take the skill of rhyming, you say, okay, what indicates that I've mastered this skill? Like, what would be an indication that I've become unconsciously competent with this skill, even if it's not mastery? What would be an indication that I'm fluid with this skill? What would be an indication that this skill is something I can do automatically with a certain level of proficiency? And that's the key, because you might not ever be Twista or Eminem or whatever, but you have some level of proficiency. And what people tend to not pay attention to is the level of proficiency that they want. That's personal to them, right? Now, Alan, you were talking about how, you want to be the best guitar player, whatever. As horrifically vague as that is, you're setting yourself a goal that essentially can't be attained, right? But think about it. Now, you love sharing. You love sharing in the love of music with other people, right? Yeah. And it's like, dude, you can attain that goal. It's so much more personal. It's so much more grounded in reality. And it's not even about like lowering your standards, because some people can interpret it like that. You get old enough, you get burned and bruised enough, you fail enough. You're like, well, fuck it. I'm not actually going to become like Steve Vai after all. So I might as well just like set the bar lower. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about make it personal, make it relevant to your actual life and what you want to be able to do with it.
Exactly.
And if you ask that question, what is the true indication that I'm as proficient as I personally desire to be with this particular skill? And what are those metrics that matter within that? Then you can determine it for yourself. I have a map for how to do this in plenty of skills, including rap and guitar and writing and a bunch of other stuff. But ultimately, you got to be able to ask the question yourself, because there's not always going to be a map for you.
See, you know what I realized with a guitar, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier. I realized that I was only trying to become the best guitar player because I knew it impressed other people. And that's why I always go back to that thing. Do the things for yourself. And that's really a solid foundation to succeed at what you're trying to do. Because if you're doing that activity or that thing that you want to do for yourself, as selfish as that sounds, it goes a long way. And that's what I realized when I thought of that goal. Like, oh, I want to be like, you know, the best guitar player. Like you said, really vague. Even like our conversation in 2019, very vague of what I want to do. I had no clue. You know, I'm like, I'm already 30 and I still don't have no clue what the hell I'm doing. You know, and that's why I always tell people, like, you got to do it for yourself. And that's something I just keep saying that over. I'm like, why am I doing this? Who am I doing this for? You know? And it's cool if the thing that I'm doing for myself is helping other people. That's awesome. At least I know that's what I want to do, you know? So, but
yeah. You know, there's something incredible about, I'm going to be a little goofy when I say this, but there's something incredible about doing it for nobody.
Yeah.
Like not even yourself. Just doing it for its own sake. Just doing it for its own sake. I call it create for the sake of creating. You know what I'm saying? Like create for the sake of creating. Freestyle rap is like that for me. It's this private thing. Nobody knows I do it. I don't post anything about it. I don't have, haven't built anything around it or produced any. I guess I actually have produced a bunch of songs. I've just never released them. Right.
Yeah.
And the moment it gets somehow mixed up with extrinsic motivation, because whether you like it or not, the extrinsic motivation is always there. There's always that nagging question of, well, what are other people going to think about this? You know, how's it gonna go down? Even if you don't consciously think about it, that we're social creatures. You know, we fucking live for the tribe because we die without it. Yep. If you just do it for its own sake and you keep it completely private, it's between you and God, you know, or whatever. It's like, it's amazing. It's amazing what you can feel and what you can experience from something like that. And I think it's nourishing in a way that anything that's extrinsically motivated, it never can be.
That's really interesting. I've never done, I don't think I have anything like that. Now that I think
well, have something. If that's my encouragement to you and anybody listening, it's like, find something that's really just between you and you. Because it's amazing. That's all I'll say about it. It's amazing. And the difference, like, think about this. This is one thing that I did a lot in 2020 when everybody was locked down and stuff, at least in this part of the world. I produced three or four rap songs that were essentially what my younger brother, he said, dude, this is your music. Yeah. Which is like, that was kind of a cool thing to hear, you know. This is your music. Like, this is sort of the thing you were meant to make that only you uniquely can do. Because I believe that that's how it is. I think you have music to make that no one has ever heard, you know? Yeah. Any musicians out there, it's like, there's something you can do no one else can do. It's not because you're more skilled or you're faster, right, as a player or anything like that. It's because you're a unique composition of atoms that has never been and will never be again. And you have your own background, your own history, your own perspective, your own ideas, your own traumas, your own pains, your own fears, loves, dreams, hopes, desires, wishes, job, career, all of that shit. It's just this massive amalgamation of shit that comes together to create something that's never been created before. If you just fucking do it, get the hell out of the way, let the muse run through you so something can come out. And it ends up being pretty fucking sick. So that can be manifested, I think, a lot. It's like frictionless when you're not doing it for anybody else. You're just doing it for its own sake. So I was producing these songs. Once I got to the other side of that process, it's like, hey, fuck, maybe I should share these, you know? So what I did was this intimate sharing. I just had like 3 or 4 friends where we all sat down together and we listened to the songs together. Yeah. You know, and this was through digital because we were all locked down in our own places in different parts of the world. Yeah. We just sat down and listened to the songs and got to see each other's reactions and laugh about stuff and make commentary about the music. And it was a very personal, very, very socially nourishing experience, having some connection in a time of massive disconnection. And think about how personal it is to be invited, as it were. It's an honor if somebody ever invites me or like shares a piece of art with me that they created that they haven't posted on social media. Mm-hmm. Like they thought of me, dude. It wasn't like they're just thrusting it out to everybody to see, and then they happen to, hey, maybe shoot it over to me. I'm not saying that doesn't mean nothing, because it means something. But if they haven't posted it on social media and they're sharing it with me, goddamn, man, there's something really special about that. And that's sort of stuff happens when you're creating for its own sake.
That's a really good point. Yeah, like when you're saying that, I'm just like, I have no clue what that would be. I mean, I guess you could count all the songs that are written, not released, maybe. I don't know if it was generally for that consensus, so probably not. I have to really think about that one, honestly. I really would have to think that one through for sure. I was just going to say it's liberating too, though, because let's get real. There is a certain level of competency. Maybe you'll never be able to sing on the level that you desire to be able to, or on a level that matches your ability with the guitar or some other thing, right? Yeah. It's perfectly possible that maybe you'll never be able to. I'm not saying that's how it is. It's possible. And if that's the case, there's a huge difference between what the audience will applaud for and what you do just because you fucking love doing it, right? And it turns out you can be just as rewarded, possibly even more rewarded. I'd make an argument it's even more rewarding by the lack of applause, what you do, what you do on your own in the quiet corner of your own personal playground, as you can the applause. So. Well, for vocals, I've always wanted to do it, but I was always told that you can't do it. You have to be born with it, kind of thing when it comes to vocals. And I was just like, no, but I really love singing, but I was really god awful. And I'm like, I just wanted to be able to sing, but also not make my own ears bleed.
Yeah. It's a nice bar.
It's a nice bar, right? Let me get no, it's like it was very incredibly humbling when I was learning vocals, realizing wow, I should know how to hit notes, what the fuck? It's so surprising with that. But that'll humble you fast. So this is the ones that are in it, I don't even know how to pronounce these. So Petrostibane or Lysine, I don't know. I could try to show you, but it has a bunch of stuff in it. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that, but this is the name.
I can't see you, right?
Oh, you can't see me? Well, that sucks. There you go. You couldn't see me the whole time?
Whole time.
The whole time?
Uh-huh.
I didn't know. I thought you can see me now, right?
I can, yeah. I mentioned it when you were away grabbing the bottle. Fun fact, I can't see him.
Yeah, I thought you were looking at me the whole time. I'm sitting there just staring. That's impressive. I'm impressed that you kept going on.
Spent a lot of time with the camera.
Yeah.
You know what it looks like? Here's what it looks like when I'm looking at you. See that? I'm actually looking at you.
Yeah.
Here's what it looks like when I'm not, but I'm looking right at the camera.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, what's the bottle? What's the brand? Or
it's just
Alpha Brain. Yeah.
Memory and Focus.
Yeah.
You've heard of this one. Okay. I just noticed a bunch of stuff in it, but it works for me. I have no clue why. I've been trying a lot of different things, like individual vitamins, just separating instead of taking one vitamin. That's why I started doing it, and it works. For me, it does.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
It works really well.
Alpha Brain's good stuff.
Yeah.
I got some of that.
Yeah. Before interviews, before practicing, I try not to do it too much. It's only for certain days, like when I'm doing podcasts, stuff like that. I just feel it helps. Or even before working out. I don't know why, working out, I have to have complete focus, because otherwise my mind races and I'm not focused on the muscles that I'm actually trying to strengthen and stuff.
Yeah.
But
right on, man.
Yeah. What works for you? I know you experiment with a lot. What have you found works for you the most?
Dude.
A lot? I mean, when I was watching your videos, you're walking into light rooms. Yeah, you were talking about it earlier, but Do you
Yeah,
still do the red light therapy and all that stuff for your
I
arm?
do. Yeah.
Yeah,
A lot of it's been simplified, I think, ultimately, because you don't want to be dependent on anything. You want to have a crutch to be able to
exactly.
perform and do your thing. So it's also good to just cycle on and off certain things. But I'm a big fan of to each its own use case.
Yeah,
And the way that I think about it is, I want this thing to do to me what it does to me.
yeah,
And if I abuse that, if I use it too much, it no longer does to me what it does to me. Right. It starts
yes,
doing something
yes,
different. It's overused.
yeah.
So yeah, I've got friends who've had
I worry about that too,
major,
though.
well, you should be conscious about it. It
Yeah,
makes a huge difference. And it's actually just way simpler that way too. But um, I've got friends who are psychologically addicted to cannabis, for example. And it's like, okay, here's the reason why you end up getting addicted to it. It's because it does something to you that you really like.
yeah,
The more you do it, the less it does the thing that you really like. And so you're ruining it, right? Everything in moderation, it's cliche for a reason. Um, but the criterion is, as soon as this stops doing the thing that that I like it doing,
yeah,
I'll stop doing it.
yeah.
I'll reset, get the sensitivity built up again, and maybe I'll return to it. Maybe I won't, but
That's a good
why
point.
do it if it ain't doing it for you?
Yeah, that's a good point because I was doing like all the vitamins separate because like I was like just trying to figure out different issues, like make sure taking magnesium separate, stuff like that separate, and then so I'd go like full weeks with that set of vitamins, and then 1 week I'd just do a multivitamin, like Athletic Greens or whatever. I'll just do that for a
Nice.
week, and I change it up
Yeah.
because I can't remember which lecture you talked about. Yeah, like just changing it up. I think changing it up for anything just helps. Even for exercising, for guitar playing, for anything you do. Because anything that becomes monotonous, like it sucks. That's why people at call centers lose their mind. I remember I tried to
Yeah,
do
no
that job
kidding.
once, and I just wanted to blow my brains all over the screen. I lasted
Yeah,
two
I kind of
weeks.
like, that's what it feels like.
Yes, yes. Like,
Yeah. You just want to blow your brains out.
so,
Yep.
um, people were asking about Japanese music, and that's a lot of what the channel is on. So you said you've heard a couple bands, but you haven't heard much, right?
Mm-mm.
No.
No, it's never been like a major thing for my ears.
There's some awesome guitar players. I was wondering if you're willing, could we show you a song
Of
or
course.
two? I don't. Hopefully, we don't get blocked. That's the only thing I'm worried about, guys. That's why I don't like doing these too much. Might have to cut it out like right afterwards. But you're. I'm trying to think what would be a good song to show you. I was just see what everybody in the chat thinks. But while they're doing that, like coming up with suggestions, would you mind showing us a little bit of a freestyle rap?
Oh, sure, man.
Because now I'm
Um,
curious. If you don't want to,
yeah,
that's totally cool.
I've got this thing where I love to. This was actually inspired by Eminem. Eminem, he's sort of a master at um, just cramming as many near rhymes or perfect rhymes within the same line.
Hmm.
And I did this, like, I'll try to go as long as I can with the exact same sound,
Okay.
just to see how long I can get it.
Okay.
Because it's interesting, like it just sounds interesting, but it's profoundly difficult to do. And I'm always a fan of doing things that are tough to do. Um, As we try to unwind, we abide the lie, a main line to all types from all gripes at all times. Eyes are fried, confined, and blind. We sign our bind for their bottom line, in line for the ride, hype to be undermined. It hides in plain sight, no guise, but a guide for life, denied by refined design, lives, pipeline, prime by sick vibes, sliced and diced by a bright device. Bullseye, blithe, lab, mice, glide so nice. Dump 5 for advice, pay the tithe till we die. Quite a dice to fly for trite axis to grind. Red, white, spangled stripes, my rights makes it right, right? The crime's all right if it's alike, despite the plight, do not downsize. The price must rise. Good night.
That's awesome. Wow.
There you
That's
go.
good. I mean, that goes hand in hand with your writing. I mean, just like your vocabulary too, right? I'm sure that helps a lot with just freestyle. That's impressive. Like just to come up with it at the top of your head. That's
Do a
awesome.
lot of vocabulary building.
Yeah.
You build up your rhyme banks. It's kind of interesting because like with if you're improvising on the guitar, you kind of do the same thing where there's always fallbacks.
Mm-hmm.
You have fallback lines
Yes.
when you're kind of having to. It's not even necessarily when you have to think of something to say. It's more. It just happens automatically. It's almost like breathing. You have these fallback lines, and over time, you have to be conscious of what the fallback lines are. You're always going to have them, but what you want to do is change them up so you don't get stale. You know.
Yeah.
I have some buddies. It's so funny to hear their fallbacks because you're unconscious to them. Unless you film yourself, you listen to it back, you're unconscious to it. So you don't realize how many freaking times you're saying the same thing, you know, before as you transition to like another rhyme scheme or something. It's pretty funny.
You know when that really comes out is in recordings. Because I improvise my solos a lot during recordings. So I'll do like a couple improvised jams and I'll be like, I keep going to that one note, you know, that one happy little third melody or whatnot that's in there.
Exactly.
What kind of music, like with guitar? Because you said you're a Petrucci fan. Is there any guitarists that you're really a fan of right now? You mentioned another one that I haven't heard before. And
I'm honestly not that into Dream Theater and that kind of stuff anymore. I still dig it, you know, it's good stuff, but
it's just weird how you outgrow that stuff.
It's like Ego Raptor. I don't know if you ever saw any of his stuff, but it doesn't make my dick rock hard, as he said. It's just one of those things. It's one of those things where it's musically interesting, but it doesn't necessarily have the same pull it used to. Mattias Asato, man, he's the guy. I don't know if you ever heard him. He's unbelievable. Tommy Emmanuel is probably my favorite guitarist at the moment. Tommy Emmanuel is like a bona fide master at the instrument, you know, just he's God at the thing. Tommy Emmanuel and Mattias Asato come to mind. Jakub Zaiteki, people pronounce it Jacob Zaiteki. He's another total baller.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good guys. I love Andy McKee too. Nick Johnston. Yeah, man, there's a lot of good shit out there.
Well, I was going to say, I'll leave you with this. Like, maybe we won't play it, but it's something to check out. Some really interesting guitar sounds of guitar playing. There's a song called Syncopation by Baby Metal.
Yeah.
And the guitar in there is very unique on the way that he uses the whammy bar when he's playing. And it's brilliant. So it's just something to check out. Like, normally, like, people, when they play the guitar, they, like, kind of just like they do the tremolo with their fingers and stuff, but he strictly uses the whammy bar for all of it, like the entire time. It's a very unique style that I haven't really seen, and it's like something that I constantly use, and I think it's a great song to check out. And it's a Japanese band. Like, I know you've heard of Baby Metal, but that's the song that people don't really know of. That would be, I think you would enjoy. And then this other guitarist that's phenomenal is his name's Shu, SYU. Let me know, chat, if I'm pronouncing that wrong. It's I can't remember the song we did. We did this. It's so clean. It was so clean, and then all these stops on the dime and it's playing. It's really good. Like I said,
nice,
very very good, but more on the shreddy side. One's more way on the feel side, and one's more on the tech side. Something to check out. I won't take a chance because sometimes those songs get blocked. But
shoot.
Yeah, I was like, I should have got samples ready and just put them up. I hope you guys are happy with that, chat.
I can listen to it on my side, but nobody else will hear it. Yeah, dude, I'm totally down to check that out. That sounds sick.
Oh no, they'll hear it if you want to play anything. They'll hear it. If I play it or you play anything, if you wanted to play anything, but
so they block you because of copyright. Is that what happens? Or?
Yeah, sometimes they could take the stream down and stuff, depending on the song. I think Gallinarius I could get away with. Let me see if I can get away with Gallinarius. Let me pull it up real quick.
Try it.
So what are your plans? While I'm looking at this, what are your plans in the future? Or right now, like what is your next thing that you're working towards?
Oh man. Well, one of the big things right now is artist acceleration. If there's any artists, you know, who want to really just unleash their full potential as an artist and attract an audience, a big fan base, and everything that goes along with that. That's a big thing that we're focused on right now. We went kind of moving from just serving like the guitar market to doing just really just artists in general, leveling them up and liberating them. It's really what it is. It's like freeing them to be able to focus fully on their craft, to create the art that only they can create and fully manifest it, right? Because you have an idea in your head. Usually takes a long time for the idea to be realized in a way that can be shared and be held and witnessed by other people in the same way that you have it in your head, right? And we help people attain mastery, attract an audience through marketing, and of course monetize their platform so they can be free to do their art. We actually take like an 80-20% approach to it, where most musicians are trying to make a living with their art, and that's ass backwards, because you could put 80% of your effort into trying to make a living with your music and get like a tiny trickle of maybe 20%. That's probably being generous, but 20% of the financial reward on the other side. And at the same time, you turn yourself into a motherfucking PR agent and a marketer and a social media circle jerker and all these other things you don't really want to be. That's pulling you away from actually just creating art.
Love that.
So, and the only way to get, to the place where you really want to go is to create something that's so good it can't be ignored. And how do you do that? You focus on the damn thing that you're actually creating, instead of, focusing on trying to be and get the attention of people to see you a certain way versus actually just being the certain way, right? So paradoxically, if you focus on your art with that full concentration and that effort, you end up creating the thing that is so good it can't be ignored. And if you take this, I call it the entre-artist approach, where you put 20% of your effort into some entrepreneurial endeavor that gets you 80% of the financial reward and the time freedom for you to be able to focus on your art, it's incredibly liberating. And that's what we teach at Artist Acceleration. So that's one thing that focus on right now.
How could I apply it to myself with this channel? What would you recommend?
Well, it kind of depends, man. I mean, I kind of feel like what's your goal with the channel?
To share music from other parts of the world with people here in the U.S. Because I feel like there's a lot of great artists that are out there that are not being spotlighted, like as far as Japan, Indonesia, everywhere in Europe. I mean, I think there's more of the European side being shown over here, but I don't think a lot of stuff, like there's some phenomenal bands coming out of Japan that are just amazing, and other parts of the world that it's kind of made me like fall more in love with music, because it was kind of getting stale for me, some of the music I was listening to. So I was always, as musicians, our music gets weirder and weirder. like it gets gradually weirder and weirder. And then I always have to remember when I show someone else and they're like, what the fuck was that? I'm like, yeah, it's a musician thing. like as a musician, I feel like we it just gets weirder and weirder. And Japanese music really satisfies those needs for me. But I also think there's a lot of good stuff that people should hear, because so I always keep that in mind when I'm listening to music. I'm like, hey, Alan, just remember, you're like always craving some weird shit. so yeah, I don't know if that happens to you, but you're like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, and there's some stuff there. So channels just to share music, but in the meantime, being able to show off the music that I'm creating also, because I've always been in this realm where a lot of the music that I play here doesn't resonate with a lot of people as it does with other people around the world. So it's kind of worked out in a weird way. I feel like a lot of people enjoy the music that I write more all over than here in Texas, for example. Like it's here where it's like everyone's still listening to Pantera still, and that's it.
Dimebag Daryl, man. The Riff King.
But nothing against that, but it's like they don't give any other genres a chance, where like I feel like there's this wide range of open-minded people and even music listeners more all over, where like it seems like sometimes here in the States people are a little less closed-minded when it comes to music. And that could just because, like I said, I could be biased on that, because I'm not. It could be just me being a musician playing, and everyone likes a lot of the same stuff, and that's for a reason, right? For the most part. But so back to the channel thing. So yeah, it's to share music. And now the main thing that I've been wanting to start to do was have these types of interviews, because there's a lot of knowledge. I love teaching a lot, but I want to teach on a massive scale by having conversations with people that are much smarter than myself. And for me, it's like I love learning. So to me is like beneficial because I'm sitting here learning and I'm also sharing this knowledge with everybody. Everybody can come here, watch this, learn something from it. And they come to the channel not only to be entertained, but they're getting some knowledge or some new stuff they never thought of before, different perspectives from people. Like we've had people on here from Hong Kong do interviews. We've had
Nice.
people from Russia, Germany, and now from Japan later this month and stuff like that. So it's exciting. So, you know, if you're a fan of, like, it was a really cool compliment. We had Sabaton on for an interview, Joaquin from Sabaton, and a lot of people didn't listen to Sabaton, but they're like, that interview was so awesome. I'm going to go listen to their music. For me, that felt like amazing.
Yeah.
Like, yes, like that's so cool.
That's
like,
great.
And they have a very unique perspective because they talk about history. Like their new album's more based off of World War I and stuff. And they incorporate history into their music. It's not my favorite music, but I dig the history side. Like it's all, I love learning about history and stuff like that. And they incorporate it in their music and their music videos. And it was so cool and refreshing to see people like go like, oh, I'm gonna check him out because this guy's awesome. I love the way like they got the connection with the singer, and now they're gonna go check out the music. And then you have like I feel like you have a newly found appreciation. I feel like when I meet the member of the band and you connect, all of a sudden you like the music a lot more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're like
I got to a point in my life where almost all the music I listened to was just friends' music. You know.
Yeah.
I'm already connected to the people. And it's funny, dude, there's a trend, man. I don't know if you see this, probably can't really see it. It's a Protest the Hero shirt, but there's definitely something at their last album, you know, I don't know if you listen to it, but that's based in history. A lot of bands and artists are doing that. It's like Lin-Manuel Miranda's Hamilton, you know, there's a lot of that going on. It's kind of an interesting thing to see. Well, you know, in the spirit of that, I love that you get that opportunity, obviously, but, to go back to the question that you had, there's always a balance you have to strike. So one is, what is the audience here for? Right. So there's you've attracted an audience thus far doing things a certain way, you know, featuring certain types of content. Obviously you can look at your channel history. You can see which videos had the most traction, et cetera. Right. You can see, okay, this is the stuff that people tend to like and want. Yeah. There's always a balance between what the audience has already approved of and applauded and been attracted to and what you want to do.
Yeah.
And if you can, you know, thread that needle, easier said than done, where you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You're off to the races, you know.
That's been the trickiest thing. It's like what I tell anybody that's building a channel. Nobody gives a fuck about you. Like as brutal as it sounds, like,
amen.
Give them what they fucking want in the beginning. And you slide it in pieces. Not like that, but you get what I'm saying. Like, and when we did the channel,
maybe like that. Maybe like that. Yeah, that's one strategy. It's actually not what I recommend, but it is one strategy that can work. Is. You know.
No,
it's like what John Mayer did.
That's true, huh? But
oh, dude, Room for Squares. He never repeated that shit. He got massive from that, but he never repeated it. You know, everything he did after that was his own thing.
Yeah. Anyway. But what I don't know. It's just we like the way the channel started was we were doing stuff like I said in the beginning, like we were doing anime reactions or whatever, and I ended up not liking it a lot. But I always like, man, I really love the music. Like I really love the music, and I found myself talking about it. And somebody mentioned like, why don't you just react to music? I was like, let's do that. And then I fell in love with this band, Maximum Hormone. It was like one of the first reactions we did on the channel, and I love talking about it. So like to me, it is a win-win because I love talking about music. I'm not the smartest musician and know everything about music, but I can say a lot about it, you know, like, or studied it for quite a while. So, and I enjoy talking about it. I enjoy talking my ass off about music. Sometimes annoy people a little bit much when I pause too much on songs, you know, but, because, you know, when you listen to a song, like, you're just like, oh my God, what did they do there? Oh, whoa, that was interesting, you know, like, oh, and then me, I mix all the time. So I'm hearing the engineering side of it and all that stuff. So I really enjoy doing that a lot.
Love it, man.
And
that's awesome.
And it kind of goes hand in hand with talking with musicians like yourself, like about this, like it just goes hand in hand with those reactions. Like, oh, let me get the artists from the bands and let me cover their music also. We also cover some of these Japanese songs. So we had a band, we covered a Maximum Hormone song where we had a guy from Korea do the vocals, someone from Brazil did the bass, and then three of my buddies
That's
here.
sick.
So just bringing all the musicians from all the world. So it's like, it's crazy. It's just all coming together. Like it's,
I love it.
You know, I had an idea, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to do this whole type of thing, but I'm like, no, I really love talking about this stuff. I really do. I want to have 4-hour conversations about this stuff. You know, it's just, I really enjoy it. I don't know, something about it, or like talking about how to make yourself better and stuff like that. Like, that's why it probably attracted me to your course so much, is just the amount of knowledge of how to become a better human being, you know, in the process of with music. So
I love it, man.
That was a long answer. I'm sorry. I should have a whole sentence. According to marketing, you're supposed to have and the one sentence is share the love of music with everyone. That's all of that in one sentence.
I dig it, man. Well, in the spirit of sharing the love of music. I don't know if you ever listened to me and my wife's bands and some of the music that we did, but there was an album we did. So one of them had, we got some music and like the Rock Band 3 video game network and stuff like that. And it was kind of cool, but that album I really don't like that album. The second album we did, I really dig it. And very few people have heard it because we stopped playing altogether after that. We created the album and then we just disappeared. You know, you could actually see it in our like social media presence. Created the album, then we were gone and haven't done anything with it. And if anybody wants to jam some music that
we should play one of your songs before you head out. If you're down.
I'm totally down. But the reason why I bring this up is if you're as part of the process of this channel to help people to discover new music and share in the love of that music.
Yes.
And then like combine all of it together by having conversations with the people who've created the music. One of the coolest things, at least from my perspective, is to hear about the stuff that most people don't appreciate about the artist or whatever. Like it's kind of that, it's like, what are the songs that you really dig that nobody else digs type of question? The songs that you've created that you really dig that nobody else digs, or the albums that you've done that, you know, people aren't really that into and stuff like that. I love hearing that when artists share that, you know, it's like, that's what really matters to them. And it's often very different than what matters to their fan base, you know?
That's true. Like, we've had some where we've had like literal therapy sessions, I feel like, on stream. Like it's crazy, but I think it's cool because then people are like, oh wow, like I get to see like how this artist struggled with this or what they went through. And that's why your story is so fascinating, because I know for sure you've helped tons of people, and you've helped me, which in essence helped people around me. So like, I mean, that's something I hope I am doing, you know, like I want to do in a different way. Because we all have our different story. I think there's something valuable in everybody's story. I really do. No matter how messed up or good or great or horrible, there's something valuable and, you know, fascinating, something you can pick away. Because I know for me, every time I listen to a podcast, I always have aha moments where I'm like, oh, it's always one sentence, that one line where you walk away. I think I've quoted a couple from the Guitar Acceleration, like that just stick with me. And like my student that's in here right now, Shred Dog, he probably is annoyed with me because I bring him up like all the time. I'm like, no, you're like, you know, I always have to be like, no, think about it like this. Like, instead of saying I can't do this, what can we do? What do we have control over? You know, like using all the certain parts of the methodology to help people overcome stuff too, myself, with other people, or like giving Joey your course and stuff like that. It's crazy stuff. So I like the stuff that people have helped me with. I love passing it forward, you know. It's a great feeling for sure.
Love it, man.
Let's show you the solo. I'll show the solo. I should get blocked for the solo. Then you can see, you know, maybe you can let us know what you think of it. Break it down a little.
Yeah, dude. Give it. I just a heads up. I have a meeting at 3, so I got 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay.
And
we'll just play a snippet, and then we'll do a snippet of one of your songs. Any song you want. If you have a link, I can pull it up real quick. People will check it out.
Cool. Yeah, man.
Here it is. This is. Can you see it? You can see us, right?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Just for sake of hopefully not getting black from it, but what did you think? The solo is actually longer than that. There's a whole front end of the solo that I just realized.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Sick, man. That's absolutely mental. It's just that's stupid, is what it is. I love it. That's a high compliment for me. It's just stupid good. Wow.
He's one of my favorite guitarists out of
dude.
Japan.
There's so many influences present that you can hear, you know, and maybe they're not even aware that those influences exist. You know, it's just like the lineage of guitarists.
Yes.
And I could hear so many players in that solo. It is really cool. But all came together in a synthesis, you know, drawing from all these different places to create. That was sick, man. Super sick.
That song, there's so much passion behind that song. It's called Angel of Salvation. I'm pretty sure you guys can correct me. When I first reacted to that song, I'm pretty sure I teared up by the end of that song. It was just like so amazing how he would just shred the stops on the dime, like the syncopation, like everything. He still showed emotion through it, and
it's so sick.
Like the keyboardist harmonizing with the solo and stuff. I was it's funny too. It's great. Not my favorite style of music either, but like that guitar player just totally blown away. Just like, wow. Cause you don't really see many people that guitar players in that genre style put that much emotion. It's normally about the shred, right? So to hear him just put like the melodic melody lines inside of it, and to put like little bends here and there. I think in the beginning, so he does more of shred on top of it, like with these beautiful bends but he's so perfect. And he does it live too. That's the crazy part. Oh, we got detected for copyright. I'm glad I stopped that. Warning, heads up, you've been detected for copyright. Damn, I knew it. Does that mean
that the stream's gonna stop?
No, we're good. We're good. What song you want to show him?
Oh shit, I don't know, man. What are you into? Something.
What's your favorite cover that you did on your channel?
Oh, I definitely wouldn't show
That's
a cover.
Old. Don't show. Yeah, do you have an original?
It'd be an original for sure. That I think is most.
You have Aftermath.
Most interesting, but. Aftermath's kind of cool. You can play that one.
Yeah, you sure?
Aftermath side story is that video is it's a guitar version of a Bloom song. So there's a version of the Bloom song that actually has vocals, but this is just like I did a guitar solo on top of it.
Okay.
That's a cool one.
Do you have like an original on here that you want to show that you're really proud of?
On YouTube, I'm not sure, man. We didn't end up doing music videos for like.
Why'd you stop?
You know, we just the band, you know, kind of went its own different directions and stuff.
So this is his channel, guys. If you do want to check out his playing and stuff, I know it's like over 2 years ago, but you have new stuff, right?
Yeah, that's just all the guitar shit, dude. Just play the newest one. That's the one to do. That's fine. It's very, very different than almost everything else that's posted, but that's good enough. If anybody knows Michael Aranda, he was the one who was filming this.
I've listened to this. It's really good. Every time I hear this, I'm like, I want more. I don't want you to stop playing. It's so clean. All right. Is that the guitar right behind you?
There it is. Yep.
Yep.
That
Awesome.
Baldy, man, I love that guitar. Such a good tone. That's just direct into the amp, dude. Didn't do anything, just playing it.
They're saying there's
Good stuff.
Let me just fix the mic and then say bye because I know you're busy and you got reset there. I reset the volume. For some reason, this crackling noise happens at the 2-hour mark every time. I don't know why. But hey, man, thank you so much for coming on, man. What is your stuff on Spotify? Do you have like a Spotify link I can share with everyone?
Yeah, dude.
You can send it to me later if you want, and I'll put it in our video because I'm gonna make a clip of this, like a condensed version, and I'll promote your stuff on there also. So if you want to send me all that stuff, and I will put it for everyone in chat right now. I see the link.
Yeah, that's the album that's I would just say that I'm most proud of.
Awesome. And then, man, if you ever want to come on again, it would be awesome. Maybe you could talk about this album. We could.
Yeah, if people jam it and they dig it, I'm totally down to come back and chat about it. Or if they hate it, it'd be kind of interesting to hear that too.
Yeah. All right, guys. We're gonna head out now. Josh, again, I really appreciate you coming on, man. I really do.
Yeah.
Thank you
dude,
so
thanks
much.
for inviting me. It's been a lot of fun.
And see you guys. See you.